Shalom and welcome to this episode of Shiri's videocast. And today I have with me Karen Nanninga, who is a fellow medical coach from Germany and someone that I admire and love very, very much. And today, Karen and I are going to be talking about the importance of self-empowerment and mental attitude in a healing process. So before we dive into that, Karen, tell us more about who you are and the amazing things that you do.
Hi, Shiri. Thank you very much for inviting me. Yes, so who am I? I'm a certified life coach and a certified medical coach by the Medical Coaching Institute. Yes, I learned so much.
I'm so proud.
Yes, you can be. You can absolutely be. I was participating in the first online program and it was so exciting, everything. Already for many, many years, I've been a trainer in adult education, and the coaching elements came to that, and this combined is what I do in my professional life today. So I'm coaching and I'm training, I started some years ago the project Embrace Life for Women with and after breast cancer, and that's my voluntary project, and that's the third part of my professional work.
And we will talk about that project in a bit because I really want to shine a light on that and talk about that because you're doing amazing work on that project. But let's start first with our topic. So what's important about self-empowerment and a mental attitude when you are diagnosed with an illness and you start the healing process?
Yes. I think generally speaking that it is so important that we should always be aware and stay aware of the fact that we have so many choices. And sometimes, especially in terms of an illness or in a situation with dealing with a diagnosis, we human beings have the feeling we are in a sort of tunnel, and this is the road, this is the path. There's always a choice. There's a choice in how do I want to see my situation. There's a choice in who am I in this situation. I have a choice of from this being, what can I do? And the good thing is that making a choice implies that we can also make other choices. We have other options. So one of my dearest words is meta view. Fly above it and look down and see, okay, what exactly is happening now? If this is the situation, what do I have here? And what can I do with it? And what is it what I want to do with it? Because that offers us a broad variety of options. And when we take an option, when we choose an option that we really believe in, that implies aspects that we find important, for example, based on our values, what's important for us in life, then the chance that this option is the right one for us is much bigger. And that means self-management. It also means self-empowerment. Give yourself the permission to make your choices. Give yourself permission to look at a topic from different angles. And then we decide and stand to the decision that we took. And this is self-empowerment. And why is it important for our healing process? Because this defines our mental attitude. And our mental attitude implies our thoughts and our emotions. And thoughts and emotions are not only energy, they're also biochemical influences, impulses for our body. And the positive impulses strengthen our immune system. And what is important for a healing process? A strong immune system.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so one thing that people usually think when they hear about thoughts and an attitude, they're like, okay, so it's a feel good. No, this is chemistry. This is chemistry. Our thoughts affect the levels of endorphins in the blood and cortisol. This is chemistry, and chemistry runs us. So the quality of our thoughts is, the quality of our chemistry. And I had a session yesterday with a colleague. We were talking, and she said something beautiful. She said, our issues tend to be in our tissues.
Ah, that's a good one.
It is a good one.
Yeah, that's a great metaphor. Yeah.
So when we resolve our issues, we also do work on a tissue level.
Yeah. And what you say is essential, resolve the issues. It's not just about, I must think positive, or I should think positive. This is what we call the terror of positive.
Yeah. You
Oh my
have to be strong, have to think positive. No, no.
It is about creating a vision for yourself based on your values. And when we do that, it automatically makes us feel good if we connect to that. And if from that point you have positive thoughts and emotions, then it implies our whole system. And then our cells are open and receptive to the positive biochemical influences that are raised from the brain, because heart and brain connection is awfully important here.
True, true. And one thing we need to say is that positive, when we talk about positivity, okay, we're not necessarily talking about feel good, okay? We're talking about the ability to see goodness in it, the ability to learn something, and the ability to move forward. And I want to take you back to choice, because you started with choice, and that's really important. Because many times when I work with clients that have breast cancer and I start talking about choice, I start very, very gently. Because usually there's resistance to say, what do you mean choice? Where is the, I didn't choose to have breast cancer. So how can we even start talking about choice? So I want to take that and say, so how do we start talking about choice in a situation where there's an illness and nobody really chooses to be ill?
Yeah, no, nobody really chooses to be ill. On the other hand, what starts in us can only be resolved in us.
Yeah.
And let's change perspective here. Oh my goodness, I have this illness. I can't do anything about it. It just happened to me. When I say change perspective and say, okay, it started in me and it can only be resolved in me, not outside of me, that means that I have the power to do something.
And it doesn't mean that it's my fault. So the fact that it started, and that's a real important distinction. The fact that something started in me doesn't mean that it's my fault. There's no blame. There is an invitation to make a choice.
Yes, and it is also about the first choice is, do I choose me?
Yeah.
Do I say yes to myself? That's the first choice. The second choice is flying above it. Hey, do I want to move away from the cancer, or do I want to move towards a life that I envision for myself? And it is so powerful to change this mental program from moving away from something which is often fear-based.
Yeah, and that's what my focus is, just getting away. Yeah. Yeah, so I want to pause here.
I don't want this. And the not wanting it is in the focus. Yeah. And how important is it to, what do I want then? To have that in the focus as a starter for, more awareness about where am I? What can I do? And we always have options, tiny ones and bigger ones. And it's a path. And I always say to my clients, trust your process. Trust that what happens to you now and things that emerge, that you will have the power to deal with it, because soul will not allow anything to come into your life that you're not able to manage and to deal with.
I believe that as well.
And from that, we can always take a step.
That's amazing. So let's talk about power, because many times when people are diagnosed with an illness, and and I kind of want to focus on breast cancer right now. The subjective experience is that power has been taken away from me.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I have to go through all these medical treatments. I don't know if and when this is going to end. I don't know if and how I'm going to survive this. So all power has been taken away. And you are talking about empowerment. So I think, how can we invite clients to look at power and empowerment in a different way? So the one thing that we said is, this is not rah rah, I'm happy, yippee, I'm all positive. Okay, this is about being authentic. But let's talk about that power. Say more about that.
Yes. First of all, illness is never a standalone thing. It is part of our lives at that moment. And we can look at the moment and what aspects of life are further playing a role. And I am not my illness. I have an illness, which automatically, in terms of language, can mean I can also not have an illness.
Yeah. Or I can have it in a different way, or I don't know.
And I always start with my clients that we put in my office on the floor, all the islands of themes that play a role. And then they see a connection. And already then they start feeling, if I change this aspect, it automatically implies another aspects. And then we have a broad vision. And from there we say, okay, and what's the first thing? What's the first issue? What of these issues, what of these themes in your life around the illness says, bling, bling, look at me? And then we start there. And often the first exercise is, what do you absolutely need now at this very moment for you to take a step? When at least it's a tiny step and you have a resource that makes you feel more powerful. And sometimes it is resilience. Sometimes the issue is courage. Sometimes the issue is, I need some distance. And then we're going to build this resource. What means distance to you? What means resilience to you? And this is very individual and very personal.
Yes.
So they envision a big jar, for example, or a big bucket, and they put everything in there, what they need in terms of courage or resilience. And then we're going to really feel it. It's not about from the head, it is from the heart and the gut. And then we're going to feel this, and then they notice what a shift this gives in the body, and then they take this resource with them during daily life to come from this point every time they need to say something, they have a medical examination, or they're going to communicate with their environment about it. And often this already gives so much empowerment. Look, if I use my resource, I can be different, and from the being I can do something different. And this is already empowerment.
It is. The resources are personal, but I want to ask, are there certain themes that are common? I mean, you've been doing this workshop a lot. We're going to dive deeper into the workshop because I love this workshop. But are there certain themes that usually come up or come up more often? Or is there a theme that comes up for everyone?
With breast cancer, you mean? Yes.
Yeah.
And I don't need to say anything. The group discovers it by themselves, and this is even more powerful because, well, whether you believe or not in psychosomatic aspects, that everybody has his own life philosophy, but I have a big lexica here in my library about the psychosomatic background of certain illnesses and why the breast and why the left breast or the right breast. But the first workshop is about embrace life. Who are you? Put yourself for once in the middle of your life. And we do a creative exercises around that. What is it who you are? What is it what you really desire? If not now, when then? If we have such a life-changing issue like breast cancer, throws everything upside down. So if not now, when then? Put yourself in the middle and dare to dream. And from that, they create vision.
That's
and then,
radical, isn't it? That's pretty, I mean, for me, there's something about, breast cancer that there's a lot of symbolism to it. Okay. But if we take an illness, any illness, but we're focusing on breast cancer. So, saying to a woman, and these are usually women in the middle of their lives, would you say, focus on you? That's pretty radical.
absolutely, because that's what they discover when they make their vision boards and they're going to present it. And I asked them to stand before the group, and this is already an issue. I don't like standing before a group. No, going to do that. Yes, please. And we're all watching. And at the end, I always find the red line here. And there's always a particular issue, going more to nature, but this is more right on the surface. What's beneath, and that's their conclusion. Hey, I've always cared about others. Either from I must be strong and I must do everything on my own, and I am like the lioness in front of my children, and nothing should happen to them, and I manage everything. So from a sort of artificial programmed strength program and pattern. And the other side is, I must serve my family and do everything right for them, and they forget about their own wishes and desires, because there is this sort of helping and serving syndrome. But it's one from the strong side and one from the I make myself invisible side, but the pattern is the same sort of thing. And when then they put themselves in the middle of their lives, things change. And this is a very emotional exercise, because when they present, we all recognize, so the person standing before us speaks for all of us. And that's so powerful.
So let's dive deeper into this workshop. It's called Embrace Life, and it's for women that are coping with breast cancer. So what is the journey that you're taking them through in this workshop?
Yeah, I want to take them through a self-awareness journey, first of all. And I offer a lot of tools and techniques also from the medical coaching, which which I built into group exercises. And workshop 2, the workshop 1 I just described, workshop 2 is about change perspective. And we're going to take a personal issue, and they learn that the issue is always neutral. It is our perspective and our interpretation of the issue, due to the glasses that we have on our noses, due to our beliefs, what we think is true, unconsciously, that we give it value. So when they notice that, oh my God, if I take a different perspective, I can do something. I can change from stuckness to movement, and this is so freeing. Workshop number 3 is about my thoughts. I decide what and how I want to think. And this is about fact or non-fact. And they discover by an exercise by themselves. I don't say anything because it's all visual on the big wall where we put all our post-its with what we are so afraid about. And this is going deep. I'm afraid that I won't be able to see my daughter getting married. I'm afraid the illness will come back. I'm afraid every time I need to go to an examination. And this is for them, it's fact, but it's not always fact. I mean, who says that you won't be able to see your daughter getting married in 10 years or so?
And that's the fear.
Nobody, but yeah, it's not normal that we are afraid of things that may never happen. So this is a very important insight. So what are you really afraid of? What's happening now? What's happening now? And when they sort their post-it, hardly anything is on fact. Because it's fear about things that may happen.
May or may not.
And maybe not. And this is also empowering, because I can every time change myself. I'm afraid because my body shows me that I'm getting afraid now. Is it fact or is it non-fact? It's not here yet. Okay, what choice do I have? Let's change perspective. And this is also empowerment. And we do also funny things around it. You remember this video about stop it?
Yes, of course.
This is one
of my favorites.
Yeah, this is fantastic. When we are in this strudel of thoughts that are not productive, especially before going to sleep, there's a great moment where ego thinks I'm going to feed you with all the worries. When we then say, stop it, very loud, not too loud because my husband is sleeping next to me, but inside, then there is a vacuum. And in this vacuum, and we can see it in our heads, in this vacuum, there is a possibility to think again. And how powerful it is, especially if we're stuck in not possible, oh my God thoughts, that we rethink. It is possible that of course I can. And do this constructive self-dialogue. Well, so this is what we practice. And workshop number 4 is about I am healthy. Health is so often defined by external parties, but we have the possibility to really pack our own pack of what are my ideas about being healthy. So this is what we're going to define, and also the question: what's possible from here? What's the mental change?
And in medical coaching, we always say that we look at health as a state of mind and not necessarily the state of the body. So I can be healthy in terms of who I am and be dealing with a medical issue.
Yes.
But that's the difference between, being broken, being someone with an issue, or so being, completely broken by it.
Yes, absolutely. And there is also a difference between being cured and being healed. And I love this aspect of the English language. The German language doesn't have this clear distinction. An illness can be cured, but we want to cure the illness by embracing the methods and the medicine and the surgery for our bodies. But we can heal our lives. And that's what you just said about dealing with our life issues. And how powerful is that when we make this integrated, an integrated process. And in this workshop 4, after they've defined what health means to them, we also deal with communication, because we're not alone on our island. That is, when I am clear about what I want, then I need to communicate it and get others on board. So,
and I can be clear with others when I'm clear with myself.
Yeah. So communication is a big issue there. And number 5 is I am my body, because my body is my lifelong companion, and we do much body work. Inclusive dance exercises where we really follow our body instead of thinking, oh, does it look nice when I make this movement? You know, it is really about connecting. It is about gratefulness to the 24/7 service that our body gives us every day. It is a miracle. And so much self-healing is already happening. If we have a cold, we take it for granted that after 3 days, we're feeling better. If we have a pimple here, automatically it is going to be cured. And our body deals with healing processes all the time. We often do not notice it. So let's be grateful for that and take that as a basis for further healing of serious issues that are sometimes so threatening.
And we kind of forget that the relationship that we have with our bodies is the first intimate relationship that we have.
Yeah.
And then we have it with our mother and, you know, with our parents. But that's the first intimate relationship. So, yeah.
And we're doing great, right? So giving a big compliment and thank you every day, I think is very important to do.
It is. It is. Wow. So how do women find you?
How do they find me?
Yes, and get to this workshop. How do they, you know, how can women find you?
I'm very blessed because I contacted, when I had the plan, the idea and the concept of the workshop program, I contacted a foundation that gives support, especially for breast cancer patients. And I thought, oh, I hope they find this a good idea. Well, actually, in a coaching session, I prepared for the conversation with the chairman of this foundation the next day. And I sat there and she said to me, this is exactly what we're still missing. Oh, how wonderful. And where do you want to give those workshops? I said, I have no idea yet. I will find a location. And she said, I get the key. We have beautiful seminar rooms here in this hospital. Have a look if this is enough for your program. And I thought, oh my God, what's happening here? And we have these beautiful seminar rooms, official conference rooms of the hospital staff, with even a lounge where we can have lunch together. And I've been conducting the workshop there for 4 years now. And I actually forgot the question, the initial question you asked me.
So no, you answered. So I asked how women find you, and they find you.
How they will find me. Yes, because this foundation is in the hospital where every day breast cancer patients are being treated. They have their surgery, and in this foundation we are a group of past patients, and we visit the women after their surgery, the day after surgery, all of them, and have a look for their needs, what they want. And it's not a medical talk, but it is between patient and past patient to create a platform for trust and for exchange. It's very powerful. Yeah. And from there, I automatically have my groups filled. 10 to 12
I will have
every time.
Just saying that underneath this video in the YouTube channel, there'll be information about, you know, this charity, and this can be your information, of course, in your website. So before you wrap this up, what piece of advice, tip, or maybe tips you have for a woman right now listening to us, you know, watching this video, that is in, you know, at some point, at some place in her journey with breast cancer?
Actually, I would like to share my experience and a piece of advice that is essential for everybody dealing with such a big challenge. if we draw a line from trust to fear, or better, from fear to trust, because if we're 100% in trust, there will be no fear. If we're 100% in fear, there will be no trust. So let us ask ourselves, when serious challenges, where am I on this line? And what do I need to get more to trust? And that is so important, because in trust, I have possibilities. In fear, I'm stuck. And especially my body, my cells are stuck, are closed. So the immune system cannot work for us. So let's ask ourselves, where do I want to be? Where am I now? What do I need at this very moment to have more trust? And be very aware of the possibility that more trust, and this is not about the silver lining thing, will give me more empowerment and really be with myself. And when I am at my center, then much more healing is possible.
And what would you say to a woman that asks you, trust what? How do I know what to trust?
Trust your inner voice, and don't listen too much to all the voices in the mind, in the programmed mind, because our heart knows the truth, and we know what is really good for us, and our body often shows it. So let's go a level deeper in this case, deeper inside, but also a level deeper from the head to the heart and the gut, to really listen what is really your essence, your values, and what's really important to you. Dearest Karen, thank you so much for the conversation. It's so inspiring. Thank you so much.
And thank you for joining us on this episode. If you want to contact Karen, if you want more information about her workshop and the wonderful work that she does, you will find this information below. And until our next episode, thank you and shalom.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.